I don't mean any harm or, make you feel a certain way because of how I am. You to know my heart.
I do know who you are, and so I should know that it's not coming from the space that it probably landed.
When the season started, I wasn't sure if I'd have a favorite couple because I felt like some people were just there for the influencer opportunities. And seeing the evolution of not only Vince but Donna and them as a couple, oh my God, I'm in love. They are my favorite couple from this season. They really are. And I really hope they do sort of decide to continue to explore this after, this whole experience ends because they are the sweetest people. And to see Vince be so vulnerable, go from being the jokey, goofy guy that he's been from the start to suddenly someone who's very empathetic, compassionate, understanding, and is willing to compromise to make his relationship work. Oh my God, I love it. And the meet the families, the situation between Lauren and Dom was a bit awkward. It really was. I think Dom went too hard. Tommy has always said what happens in the vault stays in the vault. So the idea that Dom brought this out to the date, I didn't like it. I really didn't. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Ready to Love, Season 11, Episode 11. So we have the guys meet up with Tommy, and Tommy reveals that, the guys are in power this week and they are going to decide who is not ready to love. But the task of the week is that they have to introduce their sort of connections to their family. And it's about to be messy because family is going to be honest and it's going to really be a survival of the fittest. Anyway, so we start off with Darius. He meets up with his sister Joy and his brother Terry. Oh my God, the sister was a bit too much. She was there for her 5 minutes of fame. So his connections were Ashante and Ashley. I don't understand the Ashanti connection. I think someone on production must really like Ashanti and want to stay till the very end. And so you had, Ashley having, well, Ashanti was the first one to arrive. And it was a bit, they brought flowers that they bought from the corner store. I think they bought from Walmart on their way there. And so you had them talking about, going skating and sort of encouraging Ashanti to say she needs to take, Darius skating because this is something that they do as a family. He said, well, they both said they've done it before because there was that group activity where everyone went skating because Tommy arranged a date for them. Ashley then came out and the conversation became a bit aux galore because it seems there was tension between Ashley and Darius. They've been a very strong connection. I'll put that in inverted commas. But it seems there was a misunderstanding over something. You had the girl sort of talk about the fact that, Ashley says she doesn't want to share her man. And then she was told that, the problem is Darius is a fashion designer, so he works with a lot of ladies. So he's going to be exposed to a lot of people. And she was complaining that she doesn't want him to have too much access to women. They then had this back and forth about a conversation on submission. So you had Joy ask, what is your viewpoint on submission? Ashley then said, I don't want to be someone's servant. She said they had clashed with Darius. They had had a disagreement. Darius had said, a 40-year-old wouldn't have responded the way that Ashley responded. Darius was now in his feelings because he was saying, why is she bringing it up to my family? And it's like, well, if you didn't want it brought up to your family, maybe you shouldn't have said it. I didn't realize that Ashanti had a 10-year-old, so that was brought up as well. And then the girls left, and the conversation then became, who do you think is best for me? And I think the family were right to say Ashanti will allow you to be who you want to be. Ashanti is just there for her 5 minutes of fame. I'm sorry. She's not there for a serious romantic connection. She's been very standoffish with the guys. For her to suddenly say, oh, I've got connections here, I've got new connections here. No, production wanted her to stay on. Ashley apparently was said she'll motivate you. I think Ashley is who Darius needs. She is a need. She's not a want, she's a need. In the sense that he needs a woman who's going to ground him. He needs a woman who's going to challenge him and motivate him at the same time. And if he goes with someone like Ashanti, she's just going to be a yes woman and they're never going to get anywhere. So I agree with the family that he needs someone who motivates him, and Ashley is that for him. Vince brought his brother Michael, and he brought Donna and Lauren. Lauren was the first one to come out, and she was asked, what is your contribution to your relationship ending? And she sort of went in on a tangent that she had this guy that she sort of helped grow, and then she struggled to sort of treat him as an equal once he has succeeded. And I'm happy that Vince called her out and told her that you're giving a PC answer. We need the proper answer. You can't give a PC answer. She then was in her feelings. And it's like Lauren likes to dish it out, but she doesn't like to receive it. That's the impression that I get. Donna was asked the same question, and she said, she didn't treat her partner very well, the way she spoke to him. And then after that, she realized that, maybe it came from her relationship with her dad, so she had to go back and sort of resolve her issues with her dad, and sort of in hopes of making her relationships better, her romantic relationships. Her plan is to get engaged in 2025, and it's like she is someone who's I think she said she's a mathematic, she's studying maths or something like that, or accounting. She's a numbers person, and 1 + 1 is 2. So there's no telling her 1 + 1 is 3. And I think she's someone who's very goal orientated, whereby if she sets a goal that I want to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, that's what she's going to do. On his part, Vince was saying, Vince is always very rebellious. So I get him saying, I don't want a timeline where I'm working towards, by 2025, I have to have engaged this person. He needs time to get to know her. I think she needs to be more flexible in what she wants. Yes, she wants children. Yes, she wants ABC. But at the same time, she needs to know the person she wants to, have children with before she decides to sort of go down that path. The brother felt that Donna was a better connection for her, for Vince. Do I agree? Yes, I do. I think anyone who sees Vince and Donna together knows that they are each other's best sort of connection, because they really understand each other and they complement each other in very positive ways. Bello then brought his brother Aziz. He had 2 dates. So he had one date with Ashante, and then he had a date with Lauren and Dom. I think that was producers wanting to be messy, because they knew there were going to be fireworks. So they wanted to get Lauren out of the way and then have the main event for them. And so on her date, Ashante, she came in, she looked amazing. She is always very well presented. And so the brother was then asked about the niece. How do you feel about your niece sort of living very far away and whatever? And the brother seemed very standoffish about the niece. And it's like, I don't get it, because he said, she's in Miami, we're here, so it is what it is. And it's like, that's your family. You should be speaking positively, especially about a baby that's coming into your family, a newborn, because eventually she's going to see this. How do you think she'll feel? I didn't like that. And then we got to see the Bello, sort of Lauren and Dom situation. I don't get it. I found it very awkward. I really did, because Lauren was Dominic was the first one to arrive. They seemed very cutesy, very lovey-dovey, like they're ready to get married. Lauren came in next. She was asked. She said, "I love his drive," and then she was sort of questioned by Dom to say, you said you didn't have a connection with him, so I don't understand saying you love his drive. Do you have a connection or don't you? And it's like, Dom, this is not your place. And besides, Tommy has already said that what happens in the vault stays in the vault. The idea that you are now bringing it in front of this man. And so for Dom, I think Dom was just trying to rub it in Lauren's face, and she was trying to get a reaction from Lauren, because even her saying, oh, he's already met my mom and dad, that wasn't necessary. That really wasn't necessary, because I don't think we needed all that. She seemed very dismissive, in my opinion. Dom was very dismissive and sort of more or less was saying to Lauren, what are you doing here? You don't need to be doing here. And it's like, you can't be territorial over a man that hasn't claimed you. And so for Lauren to then ask, are you still interested in growing on a connection? That wasn't necessary as well. She could tell, she could read between the lines, that man doesn't want it. That man has wanted Dominic from the moment he met Dominic. He likes the idea of Dominic, but I don't think he sees himself settling down with a Dominic. If he's going to settle down, I think he will settle down with someone like an Ashante. That's just the impression I get. So after they left, you had the brother sort of say, in his opinion, he would have preferred Lauren or Ashante. He thinks Dom is not it. She's too sort of in your face with it. And I think, yes, she is too in your face. And they were always going to struggle. And then we had the cutest date ever. Oh my God, I loved it. So you had Donna go on a date with Vince, and they sat down for a chat. I think because they are things that they sort of are trying to sort of clarify with one another. And so I loved their little sit down where they sat down and started talking about their connection and how they feel. And Vince is now very serious about Dom because he hasn't been as goofy and jokey as he was, especially in this conversation, because he said to her, he initially mocked her about her sort of balloony pants. I've forgotten the name for them. And then he said to her, I want you to understand that whatever I say, at times it's not well polished, but it always comes from a place of love. I never say anything out of malice, and I would never do anything out of malice. If I say or do anything you don't like, then call me out. Tell me stop, and I will stop. And it's like, oh my God, this man is really trying to change for her. He's really trying to be his best version, which I really love. And because Donna has done a lot of therapy, she's able to understand and sort of interpret whatever he's trying to put across to her and articulate the right response. So I loved that conversation. I thought it was the sweetest thing ever. Oh my God, I really love them as a couple. I really hope they work. They are my favorites this season. The date between Ashanti and Darius didn't make sense to me. They went to this. Yes, I would love to do that, but I don't think my vertigo would allow me because I think I would just leave there with a lot of nausea and I would be dizzy for days on end. But it really seemed sweet that they really did that activity. Apparently, this is their first date. And it's like, so if this is your first date, why is this girl getting to the very end? Make it make sense. Why is she getting to the end? Why are we still exploring a connection with someone we haven't explored throughout this whole experience? I found that really strange. I really did. Anyway, you have the guys meet up with Tommy. So we only have three guys left. We have Bello, Vince, and Darius. And so they are asked about their dates and how it went. Bello said, my family really liked Ashanti. They thought she was the sweetest, and they also liked Lauren. And Vince, on his part, said, my brother really liked Donna, and we discussed her relationship with her dad and her timeline. Darius said, his family told him that you can be yourself with Ashanti, but with Ashley, you really have to have drive and to grow. And then there was this issue. The people that had issues were Lauren, because they said she was she was asked a question and she said she was very unsupportive and disrespectful of her partner. So that was a negative for her. For poor Lauren as well, it was brought up that she clashed with Dominic, and everyone was taken aback that why was Dominic clashing with someone she's not in a couple with? She didn't need to have an opinion. Hers was just to sit there and just answer questions. Darius said, he had issues with Ashley because she brought up a conversation they had in private. Vince then revealed that, she confided in me. I didn't say anything, but the fact is, I just listened to her vent because she needed to vent her issues. And so for Darius to now have an issue with it, it's like, oh my God, make it make sense. It's not like he told her, go and break up with this man, because he first of all clarified and said, I don't have a romantic connection with this woman. I just want you to know that. All I know is I saw she was upset. I asked her, are you okay? And then she just went in and told me everything that was going on with her. And it's like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I think Darius is putting on a persona, and sadly that persona is the mask is going to fall off next week. Anyway, the guys are then asked, decide who's ready to love and who's not. They go on dates. Bello went on a date with Lauren, and Darius went on a date with Ashley. And so there was this conversation with Ashley that I feel inadequate. I felt inadequate. I felt unsafe. This is why I confided in Vince, because I just needed to vent to someone. I think she needed to vent to someone in the experience, and she needed a male point of view. This is why she vented out to Vince, and Vince listened. He didn't give his opinion. She didn't say anything negative that Vince said. So I don't understand the lash out from Darius in the next episode. I can't wait to see that mess. And then Bello and Lauren, their date. I think Lauren was questioning why she was called on a date, because she knew she was a plan B for Bello. His number one was always going to be Dominic. And so he said, my brother liked you, but the concern is that you're very dismissive. Yes, she is. She is. She was quick to dismiss Vince, and then when she realized that she wasn't number one for Bello, she wanted to go back to Vince. But by that time, Vince had moved on. So I totally agree with Bello that she's always been looking for someone to keep her safe in the show. She was told she's not ready to love. She was so furious. She really was. She really kicked out. Oh, it's a wasted opportunity. I'm ready to love. I don't understand. People want people that are putting on an act. And her mask slipped because she kept playing this posh, sort of dignified person, and that all fell off the way, and it was really sad to watch. On her part, Ashley was told she's ready to love. She was excited. I don't think Darius was ever going to break up with Ashley. I think if he's going to break up with Ashley, he's going to break up with Ashley and walk out of the experience with no one. Do I see him with Ashante? No. I think Ashante is just there for her 5 minutes of fame. If she thinks being in a relationship with someone will give her more clout, she will. But I don't think she likes these guys in the way that she's making out. So I can't wait for the finale. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 10. Bye guys.